Hello, all you coin aficionados out there, and welcome to the DC Coin World International Coin Channel. Today we have some Australian 2-cent coins that were given to me by a coin dealer. Not my local one, but we got them through the mail. And he said, take a look at these 2-cent coins, see if you can figure out what the difference is in them, anything special about them, whatever. Turns out that there may or may not be anything special about them, but he said these are the ones to look through, so I'm going to take a look. So what we've got is the 1966 Australian 2-cent. Of course, that's the first year they went to decimalization in Australia, 1966. So we have some of those coins right here in the front. And then we have this 1967 and 68 2 cents here, and some 1981 2 cents here. Now, I know why we have the 67 and 68. I know why he sent those, because there are some error coins in 67 and 68 that don't have the engraver's initials on the back. And that's the same for the 1981 coins. So we will take a look at them in another video, the 67 and 68 and 81 coins, and we'll look through those. But today what we're going to do is take a look through the 1966 coins, and here they are. Now the 1966 coins are important for collectors of Australian coins for a number of reasons, but the first reason, of course, is that it's the first year of decimalization. So if you can get any coin collector that collects a certain country always wants to get the first year, and of course any of the years afterwards, but the first year is an important one. So let's take a look at this first year and see if there's anything special about the 1966 that would make it worth getting. I can tell you there is. What they do is, when you look at the 1966 coin, there are 3 different kinds of mint marks on them, and that's how we can tell which mint it was made at. So in 1966, Australia produced these coins at the Canberra Mint, the Melbourne Mint, and the Perth Mint. And the way that you can figure out which mint it was minted at, of course, first thing you do is you look at the front of the coin and you see whether this says 1966 on it. So I went through all of these, and they all do say 1966 on them. The second thing you do is you turn them over and you look at the claws on the back of the 1966 coins. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to drop this down to a lower portion on the stand so we can magnify it. And bear with me while I just drop it down a little bit. And this should work pretty quickly. Aha. So now we've got it down. So this is the 2-cent coin. This is the magnifier. This is when I talked to you earlier and I showed you the 66 and 67, 68 coins. The 67 and 68 coins and the 81 coins will be valuable if they don't have these initials down here. And if you look right down here at the bottom, we see it's Stuart Devlin, the engraver's initials. The next thing you look at is right here, and that is you look to see whether there are essentially talons or claws on the end of these, the feet of the frill-necked lizard. So this is also called the frilled dragon. So if you get down in here really closely and you look at the different claws right here, you can see that each of these claws has kind of a finger type part and then a claw at the end. And the way that you can identify which mint these are from is to look at these claws and say, is the first claw on the left, does it have a talon, or is it blunt? And you can see that this one does have a talon, it kind of sticks down below it. So that means that it's not from Perth. If you look at this one and all of these ones and you can't see any blunt ones, then that means it's from Canberra. And then if you look at um, this one right here, and you see that the second claw in, so this one right here is blunt, that means it's from Melbourne. Well, this one has no blunt claws, so it is from Canberra. There's no claws that are blunted on here. So then we just flip over the next one. We say, okay, what about that one? And we see if we can find any that have blunted claws. Now this one, I can tell you that it does. So maybe we can look at this right here, this claw right here, which they call the second right claw. And we can look at the second right claw on here, and we can see how the claw comes down on this one. So this one with no blunted claws is the Canberra mint. This one with the, see the blunt claw doesn't have the little talon coming down? That means it is from the Melbourne mint. So we have Canberra, Melbourne right here. And so we'll keep those to the side a little bit so we can use these as um, to kind of see which ones are which. We turn the next one over and we see that it is, aha. So if we turn the next one over, we see that there's no blunt, I mean, it's blunt here. So let's go back through these again, and I'll show you the difference between that one. So this one has a blunt claw on the left claw, the farthest to the left. It doesn't have the little talon or spike going down. That, and let's see if we can show, see this one? So see how the talon or the spike goes down here? And it does not on this one. So this one is going to be um, from Perth. This one is going to be up here because it has no blunt at all, from Canberra. And this one right here is going to be, this one, if you look at it, well, that's interesting. This one right here is going to be very hard to tell. And can that happen sometimes? Can you say, okay, no blunt claw here, but it looks like it's blunt there? Yeah, we know that if it's no blunt claw here, that it has to be Perth, okay? Even if you can't see the one here, it's because it's worn out. And that's why we have some problems with these coins is it gets really messy as these wear, often that little tiny talon at the bottom wears away. This one it's clear that it's there. This one it's clear that it's not and never has been. This one it's not clear whether it was there or not. But essentially that's what we want to do. We've seen all three of them now. So here we have the no blunt claws on any of them. That means it's from Canberra. Here we go way over here on the left, and we see that that looks like it never has had that kind of talon coming down. So that's from Perth. And then on this one here, we go down and we see that um, we don't have any real talon coming down here, but we also can't see it here, but we can do it just based on this one and say this one and this one are the same. These are both from Perth. Finally, let's look through a couple more and see if we can find any of the others. See how these start to get really blunt on all of them? This one, I would say that it's probably a Perth because of that, but I can't tell. You can't tell by that coin, so you just dump it out. And this is probably why the dealer sent them to us, because he said, geez, half of these I can't tell. Let's see if you can. This one, I think that there's a little bit of a talon there, but again, I can't tell. So that one, just throwing it out. This one here, boy, it's taking us some time, huh? He probably did this just so we would waste our time. This one here, again, I think it's just really hard to tell on this one. It's so worn. This one here, let's look at two more if we can't find. Again, see how it's just so worn down that it's just hard to tell at all. But I can see the talons on this one. This one I think is another Perth. And let's look at one more and see if we can find any. Okay, so I can see a bit of a talon here. I can see a talon there, right there. So I believe this one is probably Melbourne. It has a blunt second card. I see a little bit of a talon sticking down there. See a little bit of one there. I believe this is a Melbourne one. But again, as I said, it is just so hard to tell. Well, all I can tell you is if you're trying to figure out which one's which and you can't tell, that's because many of these have worn down so much you can't tell. All right. Well, that's all we have today from the DC Coin World International Coin Channel. I guess we wasted a bunch of your time, a bunch of my time, but it was kind of fun looking to see if we could find the different mints from Australia from 1966, and that is the Canberra, the Perth, and the Melbourne mints. Have a great day from DC Coin World International Coin Channel.